It's June the 25th picks edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with a new Pick 8. Sign up with our code MLB SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MLB SGPN. We are also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Monday, June the 24th. We are here for a full slate of action for Tuesday, June the 25th. Joining me used to be the Sunday night crew. We are now the Monday night crew. It is Lonte Smith. Lonte, hello, mate. How are you? Are you on mute, Lonte?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. My bad. Yeah, but I'm doing good, man. Good to be here with you. I like a lot of the card tomorrow, so hopefully we can get some winners.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about winners. The Euro 2024 game, Croatia and Italy. I've just been chinned for a plus 275 in the 97th minute. I took Croatia to win on the money line. Italy have just equalised and drawn the game with literally the last kick in the 97th minute. There wasn't even time to kick the game off again. So 5 minutes ago, I was in a tremendous mood. 4.5 minutes ago, they knocked the wind out of my sails. Randy in the chat just saw that game. It was a good goal, but it doesn't make me feel any better. So yes, Gio was facing the chat. Gio, how you doing? Max is in. Max is still pushing go yard or go home. Mate, if I'm on the show, you know what's going to be called, Max. You can try that with the other boys, but it's not getting past dingers for me. If you are on the chat, by all means, say hello and give us a few picks. I'm also playing Russian roulette with my laptop battery because every time I plug it in to charge it, it turns itself off. So I'm running on fumes here. I'm running on absolute fumes. So if I do disappear and Lonte has to finish the show by himself, that's what's happened. So you might detect I'll be slightly more hurried than usual tonight. But yeah, that's just due to the laptop possibly dying. Who's to say? Yeah, full slate of action for Tuesday night. There has been no baseball today on Monday, as is usually the case. So these will be the second games of the series that we're handicapping without seeing the first games. But we'll be all right, I'm sure. And we will start with a 6:35 Eastern first pitch between the Cleveland Guardians and the Baltimore Orioles. Left-handed pitchers on both sides here. Cleveland have Logan Allen, and for Baltimore it will be Cole Irvin. The Orioles minus 142, Cleveland plus 120. Total is set at 9.5. So Logan Allen, he's been fine, maybe is the word. His ERA is not very good, but his record's all right. 8-3, 5.23. Very unspectacular. But Cleveland do seem to dig him out the shit when they need to. He still walks too many batters, but he's been better lately. Beaten Seattle and beaten the Blue Jays in his last two. And he's a little bit better on the road as well. But Cole Irvin is 6-3 on the year. That's a 3.45 ERA. Irvin's allowed 3 and then 5 earned runs in his last two starts. But he's a little better at home as well, a 2.83 ERA. Against left-handed pitchers, there's not much to split these at all. Cleveland hitting 254, Baltimore hitting 256. Baltimore had a bit of a weird week because they won the series against the Yankees, something which I think they would have been absolutely delighted by. And then they followed that up by getting swept at the Astros, which they would have been very disappointed by. Heston Kjerstad's back, someone we thought might do great things, wasn't, got sent down, but he's back again. And Cleveland are on a 5-game winning streak. So I found this really quite hard to split. But I think the game just points to runs. I think both pitchers have given up enough runs lately. And both offenses going well. So the 9.5 I'm happy with. It is quite big, but I'm going to take the over, Lonte.
Yeah, I'm with you on the over. It was hard for me to split as well. I think both pitchers are about the same. I don't think it's much separation. Both teams hitting above 250 versus lefties. I think you highlighted that. 10.4 runs combined between the two in their per 9 in their last few games. So they're pretty much even as far as offense. And I think Cleveland's over in 6 of their last 10. Baltimore's over in 8 of their last 10. I think we see some runs. I mean, Logan Allen, you mentioned the walk issues. He's walked 3+ in 3 straight games. He has a low K rate. He's got 9 Ks in his last 4 starts. So he's going to allow, a lot of contact. And if Baltimore can put the ball in play, I mean, most of the times good things happen. And on the opposite end, if you look at Cole Irvin, I mean, he has a high contact rate, 8+ hits in 3 of his last 4. But he has had that under control, 2 earned runs or less in 4 of his last 5 home starts. So all in all, man, I think we see a lot of runs here. If I had to pick, I would take the dog, just a coin flip game. But I think we see a lot of runs, maybe a 6-5, 7-6 type of game here.
Okie doke. Next up is the 6:40 Eastern first pitch between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Detroit Tigers. 2 lefties again here in Ranger Suarez for the Phillies and Tarik Skubal for the Tigers, who are +108 as a home underdog. The Phillies -126. Total 7.5, Lonte.
Yeah, so I'm going to take Detroit, man. I'm going to take Detroit at the plus money. I'll take the under 7.5 as well. I'll just expand on the under. Detroit's lost 5 of their last 7, 1 run or less in all of those losses. They're also under in 8 of their last 10. I mean, the pitching has been fine. It's just that the offense just hasn't got going. I mean, I know they got going yesterday, but if you just take that out, they've been pretty much pedestrian over the last few series. They don't hit lefties as well. 231 versus lefties. Philadelphia is hitting 263, so I'm aware of that. But if you look at Suarez, man, he's allowed a high contact rate as of late, 6+ hits allowed in his last 3 starts. 2 of those were on the road. And I think Skubal can keep things in check. I mean, he is, by all accounts, been one of the better pitchers in the MLB. He suffered back-to-back losses for the first time this year. He's had 8 runs in his last 10 1/3 innings pitched, 3 home runs in that span as well. So he's got to keep that down. In his previous 6 games, I mean, he had 8 runs combined. So that just goes to show he is human a little bit. But I think he gets back on track here, man. I think we see a low-scoring game. I like the under 7.5, and I'll take the home dog at +108. I think it's the number.
Unfortunately, Lonte, we've got a bit of a crossfire here because I've gone on the other side.
Yeah.
I love that price about Philly, -126. Suarez, in his last 4 starts, has given up 1, 1, 2, and 0. He got no run support last time against the Padres, but pitched really well. And Skubal, like you said, he's back-to-back losses for the first time, but giving up 4 earned runs in both of them against Atlanta and Houston, possibly similar comps to this offense here. Detroit aren't playing too well. They are under 500 at home. And I just prefer Philly in the spot. And it's like I say, it's not very often you get Philly at a competitive money line price rather than having to take them on their own line. So Philly at -126 will be my play in that one. Third game on the card, Seattle at the Tampa Bay Rays is a 6:50 Eastern first pitch. We have Luis Castillo for Seattle. We have Zach Littell going for Tampa Bay. +110 on the Rays, -130 on the Mariners. Total is 7.5. I'm still finding Luis Castillo really hard to trust.
Yeah.
6-8 record, 363. But he's given up 5 earned runs in 2 of his last 3 starts. His junior ERA was 470. Is 470. In his road ERA is 434. So there's not too much to recommend Castillo. Certainly not at a -130 price. Now, Zach Littell, 2-5 on the year, 420 ERA. He had a 6 earned run start against Atlanta 2 starts ago. But generally speaking, he's been pretty consistent. 3 earned runs over 6 innings pitched. He's faced some tough opposition. But there really isn't that many pointers or trends to be had with Littell, other than that he's fairly steady. Seattle's lead is dwindling in that division. Myself and Mooney have done the Monday night show for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and every week I've had to ask him, "Can we write the Astros off? Can we write the Astros off?" And he said no, and I was just about to do it, and all of a sudden, the Astros have had a little bit of a spike in form, and they've eaten into this Seattle lead now. They're 4 games back, just all of a sudden.
Yeah, 4.
They need to score more runs, Seattle. The road record isn't great either. I'm going to take the underdog here. I'll take the Rays at +110, Lonte.
Yeah, I like the Rays too. I think if you I think you want to go ahead and get on that Houston stuff because I think Tampa is going to have a good series. I think they'll sweep them in the series. By all accounts, I think the pitchers that are going should be able to have success. I mean, we all know Seattle's Achilles heel is their offense. They're hitting 213 in the last 10. Tampa 246. Tampa's actually been really good versus righties, 260 versus righties the last 10, 5.3 runs per 9. I mean, they haven't been as good at home this season. If they were just 500 at home, they would be, the record would look a lot better. They're like 4 games under 500 at home, and that's not something we're accustomed to seeing. You mentioned with Castillo, I mean, he's allowed a lot of contact, 18 hits in his last 2 road starts, 10 earned runs combined. Littell, he bounced back after getting shelled by Atlanta. He's not allowed over 3 earned runs in his last 5, and he's pitched against some solid offenses. The Yankees, the Mets, who've been rolling lately, Baltimore, Boston. But he has allowed a home run in 7 straight, so he kind of wants to keep that down. Luckily for him, he doesn't have to face a potent offense. So I think Littell can get it done at home. He's much better at home. I'll take the home dog here in Tampa, so we agree on that, man.
Okay, we move on. Once we've mentioned the top 10 fantasy football preview series that the SGPN boys have just put out, quarterbacks and tight ends, is live. It's never too early for National Football League. After that bit, Lonte, it says in Berman voice. Now, I don't know what Berman voice is, although I just tried to do it on the Premier League show and someone told me it's the ESPN guy.
Yeah, Chris Berman.
So if you're Berman, could you demonstrate a Berman voice to me or not?
No, I'm not good with voiceovers.
Oh, Lundy, what a letdown. So anyway, if you can do the Berman voice in your head, NFL. Underdog Fantasy, pick 8 is now live. Underdog Fantasy automatically double flex a couple of your entries, so you can miss up to 2 and still win. You can win up to 325 times your original amount. And use specials and boosts on all flexed entries. So try it before that finishes. Sign up with our code, which is MLB SGPN, to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MLB SGPN. And don't forget the Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, $16 million in guaranteed prizes. You've got the $6 million, which is you take 5 teams against the spread every week, or you've got the Survivor, where you run the gauntlet to claim the $10 million first prize. You can sign up in person in Circa Sports, but then use the proxy to play. And we've got a little deal on that proxy as well, footballcontestproxy.com, to save $50 with the promo code SGP. Sean and Ryan, all the boys are going to be hanging out there at the greatest sports week in the world from August the 22nd through to the 24th. Great time to get your pre-football partying out there in Vegas with Sean and Ryan and several others of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. 7:10 Eastern first pitch is back to the top of the page for the New York Yankees and the New York Mets. We have a Subway series here. It is Gerrit Cole for the Yankees, who are -156. David Peterson, left-handed pitcher for the Mets, +132. Total, Lonte, is 8.5.
Yeah, man, I like the Yankees here. I think it's a perfect spot for them, a good series for them to get right. They've been struggling, a tough 3-series stretch. Baltimore, Boston, Atlanta. I think they've lost 7 of the last 10. While on the opposite end, the Mets are hot. I mean, 8 of the last 10 they've won. They're hitting above 280. Really hitting the ball well. 10 hits on 6.5 runs per 9. They just had a great win in Chicago on a night they were honoring. I forgot, they revealed a statue. I forgot his name. But yeah, so I think it's a good spot, a good buy low spot for the Yankees. I mean, the price tells you all you need to know. Yankees perform well on the road. I guess technically they are on the road. I mean, still in the same, state or whatever, same area. They're 28-14 on the road. They've won 4 of the last 6 versus the Mets. And I think Cole, he was on a pitch count in his debut. I think 65 pitches was the limit that they wanted to keep him at. He was poured after 62. performed pretty well. Only 3 hits, 5 Ks, and 2 earned in that span. So I think he'll be allowed to go a little bit deeper in the game. Peterson on the other end has faced one good offense. That was the Dodgers. He's been better on the road, 4 earned runs than at home. He had 6. He does have some walk issues. I think the Yankee lineup will be back to hitting as well as they were earlier in the season. So I think the Yankees are a good bet here, even at 0.55, Mel.
Mate, I'm on the other side of this one as well, Lonte.
Oh, man.
We
A lot of
are
disagreement.
absolutely no help to anyone here. I think just because, for a start, the Yankees have lost 3 series in a row now, which is something that won't happen to them very often this season. Gerrit Cole, you're right, was on a pitch count. Should be able to go a little bit longer gradually as they ease him in. But it can be vulnerable. We do often like to fade him just because there's the Yankees tax. There's a Gerrit Cole tax piled on top of that as well. And David Peterson has been decent for the Mets, 3-0, 3.97 ERA. They've won. The Mets have won all 4 of his starts since he came into the rotation. Oh, sorry, he's had 4 starts now. They've won his last 3 of them, and he keeps getting lots of help from his offense. In just recent record, the Mets are 8-2. You know, the grimace factor. In their last 10. The Yankees are 3-7. So I think the value has to be with the Mets at this point, plus 132 with the 2 teams in that form. I'm going to go the other way and take the New York Mets. Next game is a 7:10 Eastern first pitch between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Cincinnati Reds. Another good-looking pitching matchup. Mitch Keller for the Pirates takes on Hunter Green of the Reds. Plus 102 Pittsburgh, minus 120 Cincinnati. Total is 8.5. Now, we don't have to look very far for a comparison game here because these 2 pitchers faced each other last week in a game that finished 1-0. Pittsburgh won that game 1-0. Both pitchers went really well. Keller went 7 scoreless. Green went 6 1/3 scoreless. So really, Keller, I think you find to trust Keller. This is flipped. Last week was at Pittsburgh. This week's at Cincinnati. Keller's got 1 dodgy start against the Cards in there, but the rest are fine. The question is here, can the offenses adjust? Or who do you trust more? Do you trust these 2 pitchers to go again? Or do you trust these 2 offenses to turn it around? And I think I trust Keller and Green more than I trust the Pittsburgh and the Cincinnati O's to go and put some runs on the board here. With the location being flipped, it's worth mentioning Green's 259 on the road, which is fine, and Keller's 236 at home. So it could even be lower scoring than 1-0, Lonte. Under 8.5, that number's far too high.
Yeah, I agree. I guess we agree on this. All 3 of those previous games went under last week. 10 combined runs, like in those 3 games, and like you mentioned, just 1 combined when these 2 exact pitchers faced off against one another. I mean, both offenses are struggling. They're both under an 8 of the last 10. You rattled off the numbers for Keller and Green. I'll take it a step further. Since May, Keller has a 1.53 ERA. Green on the other end, low contact rate, 4 hits or less in 4 of his last 6 starts. But he is having a bit of some walk issues. He had 5 walks in 2 of his last 4 starts, so he kind of got to get that under control. Keller's going deeper in the game, 6 innings pitched in 8 straight starts. So I think we see much of the same, Al. Maybe we get a little bit more, maybe a 2-1 game. But I'm leaning to Keller as well. But I like the under more. Maybe a first 5 under as well if you want to go that far.
Okay, back on the same page, Lonte. 7:10 Eastern first pitch. This is one of 2 games. It might only be 1 game, actually, that's off the board. Tonight, it's the Toronto Blue Jays at the Boston Red Sox, and it's Toronto who are TBD. I think it's Kevin Gausman. And Brian Bello will go for the Boston Red Sox. Did you have Gausman going in this one?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I had Gausman going.
Yeah. And what was your handicap of it?
Yeah, so I mean, Gausman's been a lot better on the road. I mean, it's hard to trust Toronto, but he's been it's night and day on the road. 13 earned runs allowed in his last 4 starts. 3 of those were at home. In 5 road starts, he's had 2 combined earned runs, 33 Ks in his last 5 home starts, 22 earned runs, and 25 Ks. So that's just a night and day difference. Bayo is 4 earned runs allowed in 3 of his last 4 starts. He's had walk issues, 17 walks in his last 6 starts, multiple walks in all of those, of course. So I think I'll go with Toronto if they're a nice sized dog. I mean, Boston's playing well, of course. So I'm sure there'll be a dog. I mean, I think we can get some value on Gosman, who's performing way better on the road than he is at home.
True enough, but I'm back on the other side. I couldn't take Gosman if you paid me. Yeah.
Even on the road, his road numbers are good.
Yeah, true. But we faced him last week. They lost the game 7-3. He gave up 4 earned runs, and there's no. The only reason to think this will be any different is that the road split there you mentioned. That was one of Bellows' better starts last week in that 7-3 to win. And I think he's trending in the right direction. And certainly the teams are trending in opposite directions. Boston 8-2, the Blue Jays 2-8 in the last 10. But yeah, without seeing a line, my initial lean would be to Boston. Next up on the card is a 7:45 Eastern first pitch between the Atlanta Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals. Ronaldo Lopez for Atlanta. Kyle Gibson will go for the Cardinals, who are plus 116 at home. Atlanta minus 136. Total here is set at 8.5. We've had Jem Carey, the pick detective, in the chat suggesting home run heroes.
Yeah, I like that.
For our section at the end. We could just have an on-running, endless.
You can switch it every day.
Just a big suggestion box. This is more fun. I don't think we ever have to call it anything. We can just let people keep shouting out the names. So yeah, there you go, Jem. We'll put that in the suggestion box, Jem, with the other 962 that we've had in so far. Kyle Gibson's pitching well, yeah. Anderson Lewis are playing a little bit better, but Lopez numbers are absolutely bulletproof. You can't pick a hole in what Ronaldo Lopez is doing. In Atlanta on the charge, we've just talked about Houston coming, and Philly pretty soon might be able to hear the footsteps of Atlanta creeping up behind them. Atlanta hit 66 homers in their first 65 games. That was part of the problem. They weren't just hitting it out. They've hit 19 in the last 10. So if you're Philly, I'd just be looking over my shoulder with a little bit of trepidation because this Atlanta offense is coming to get you. A little bit like I took Philadelphia because you don't see them at a nice money line price too often. I'll take Atlanta with Lopez on the mound at minus 136.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mal. We agree here. I like Atlanta, but I like the under even more, though, especially in the first 5. The number's not out yet, but with a total of 8.5, I'm guessing we'll see like a 4.5 juice maybe. But Lopez, 2 straight scoreless outings, 11. That's 11 innings total. 1.57 ERA, 1.08 WHIP. Has not allowed over 2 earned runs since April 30th. He's seeing it pretty well, like you mentioned, bulletproof numbers. Gibson is what I'm kind of worried about. He was scratched from his last start. He had some back tightness, so I'm interested to see how he's had an extra day or extra a gap in between his starts, so maybe he got healthy there. But I'm interested to see how he comes out. 3 of his last 4 starts have been on the road, and he has gone 5 starts without allowing more than 3 runs. So I think the under is going to be the play here, even though Atlanta's offense has been playing a lot better. I trust both pitchers, especially in the first 5 innings. So I love the first 5 innings to go under, but I'll take the first 5. I'll take the full game under as well at 8.5.
Okay. Just talking back to the Blue Jays Red Sox game that we covered game before that one. Gio's given us some lines here. Relatively close on the books, minus 102 Toronto, minus 116 Boston. But yeah, we were on opposite lines of that. Lonte liked Toronto and I like Boston, so not an awful lot of help to you. Next game does feature those Houston Astros that we talked about. We've got back-to-back games here, actually. We've got the Astros and the Dodgers coming up, who were both very, very short price favourites. Austin Gomber, left-handed pitcher, goes for Colorado here. And Hunter Brown goes for Houston. This is an 8-10 Eastern first pitch. In Houston, a minus 245. Colorado plus 200. Total here is at 8.5. One of the first comments I saw in the chat this evening was that people were eyeing up this Houston run line. And it's the obvious place to go. Sometimes you just have to roll with it. Gomba's not in good form at all. And Hunter Brown, having had that really wobbly early season, has put it together. He's got a 1.44 ERA this month. Houston, 5 wins in a row. We know they can get to left-handed pitchers as well. Two teams in wildly different form, two pitchers in wildly different form. You have to take Houston on the run line. If that price is round about -110, I absolutely love it, Lonte. This one was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, pretty straightforward for me as well. Brown, like you mentioned, just to put it into like numbers perspective, 9.78 ERA in his first 6 starts. Since then, 4.72 ERA. I mean, it's not the greatest, but down from what he originally had. He's had 6 straight quality starts. And if you look at just his last 18 innings pitched, only 1 earned run, 22-4 ratio in that span. I don't think that the Colorado Rockies will have success here. I mean, Gomber, 15 earned runs in his last 14 and 2/3, 15 earned runs in his last 3 starts, 22 hits. I think that Houston will be able to score multiple runs. So if you want to ladder up that team total to go over, I think that's one of the better plays on the card.
He likes the ladder, does he? Get in. We enjoy a ladder. We'll move on after we tell you about Rhythm. Rhythm is the place to be if you are betting on player props. You need to download that Rhythm app. It's the go-to sports betting tool, which transforms complex data into actionable insights for you, gives you the chance to bet smarter, making data-driven decisions. It makes betting both easy and enjoyable. Rhythm's predictive models were born from the brains of MIT data scientists. It's all backed by AI decisions. Rhythm projections have been absolutely on fire for the WNBA and the golf as well. So claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. 8:10 Eastern first pitch is another really short one here. It's the LA Dodgers at the Chicago White Sox. Dodgers are officially TBD, but I think it's Bobby Miller. And we have got lines on this game. So I think we're okay to say that it is going to be Miller going. And Chris Flexen goes for the White Sox. +198 Chicago, -240 the Dodgers. I haven't seen a total on this one, but yeah, another $2.50 favorite, Lonte, in the LA Dodgers.
Yeah, so I don't hate playing the White Sox in the first 5. Flexing 3-2 in his last first 5. He's actually 2-1 at home in his last 3 first 5. So Flexen's not been bad. I mean, 2 earned runs or less in 4 of his last 5 starts. He's got low contact, 4 or less hits allowed in 3 of his last 5. And he's faced a couple of good offenses in that span: Houston, Boston. And Bobby Miller's he's returning from the IL. He last pitched mid-April. So, we never know what we're going to get with guys who are coming off of extended stints on the IL. He had been up and down in his 4 starts, 10 in 2 starts and then 4 in the other. 3 to 4 starts have been on the road, so he's in a comfortable place. I mean, and he's going against an offense who obviously is not that good. But I think Chicago can hang around early. Maybe Bobby Miller has a little bit of nerves, a little bit of control issues, and Chicago, who's been notoriously good in the first 5 for most parts, just when they get to that bullpen, that's when they get exposed. So I'll take Chicago first 5 now.
I completely agree with you. I think if you look at the numbers, I think that's the only conclusion you could really reach, unless you're just blindly betting on a really good team for a really bad team. Bobby Miller has had 1 start. This is his 2nd start back. But he did go in Colorado last week, which is tricky, but he got lit up a little bit, 5 earned runs in Colorado. So you want to see Miller do something before you can start blindly backing him. Certainly at -240, you might be able to take a punt on him at even money one day if you want. But at -240, you want to be sure what you're getting, and you can't be at the moment. And Chris Flexen, 372 junior A. He's pitched okay lately. So yeah, White Sox first 5. This is the Dodgers still adjusting to no Yamamoto, adjusting to no Mookie Betts. Although Shohei Ohtani is having a historic June.
Yeah,
he likes hitting in June. June's always his hot month, Lonte. I probably should have told everyone this 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, you should have. We would have been a lot richer.
Yeah, I've decided to tell you on the 25th of June. He's always great. Remember this. Put this in your diary for next year. Set of in your phone.
Ohtani June.
1st of June. Back Shohei Ohtani props. So yeah, let's have a little cheeky go on the White Sox first 5. Next game up is an 8:10 Eastern first pitch between the Miami Marlins and the Kansas City Royals. We have Yonny Chirinos going for Miami. Seth Lugo for Kansas City. Shorter here as well, not quite $2, but minus 190 for Kansas City with Seth Lugo. Plus 160 for the Marlins. Total here is set at 10.5. This will be Yonny Chirinos' second start as a Marlin. His first went okay, but Seth Lugo has been outstanding, pitching brilliantly. He's got a 10-2 record with a 2.42 ERA. Kansas City are absolutely outstanding at home, 25-14. The Marlins' record is appalling. I can't get away from a Kansas City run line again. Yeah, I mean, we've gone from a really obvious one to quite an imaginative one, back to an obvious one, Lonte. But it is what it is. If that's the way you feel, you got to take the Royals on the run line.
Yeah, I'll take the team total as well. I mean, Chirino's small sample, so I don't think you can read too much into it. Although he did allow 2 earned runs, allowed 8 hits, so maybe that corrects itself here with Kansas City being at home. We all know they hit better at home. Lugo, 12 quality starts, first in the majors. He has had an up and down June, 9 earned runs in his first 2 June starts, but he cleaned it up, 4 earned runs combined in his last 2. 5 of his last 6 have been on the road, so kind of getting back home, getting getting comfortable. I think he could come out and be able to sustain a Miami offense. Who Miami actually has been more competitive and better. I think they've won 4 of 6. They've been hitting the ball pretty well. They even had some come from behind wins, much to my dismay, because I was on the opposite side of a couple of those. But I think Kansas City team total over. I don't hate the run line as well.
Okay, look. Going back to the Dodgers, Youngin earlier on giving us Ohtani over 1.5 total bases, which is a bit of a system play at the moment. Like I say, we should have been on that for the last 3.5 weeks. 8:10 Eastern first pitch is the Texas Rangers at the Milwaukee Brewers. Left-handed pitcher Andrew Heaney will go for Texas. Bryce Wilson is on the hill for the Brewers, who are minus 120 at home, with Texas at plus 102. Total Lonte is 8.5.
Yeah, Mal, I struggled with this yesterday. I'm struggling with it today. I really don't know what to expect from either side. Like, I mean, if you look, Texas, they got Scherzer back. Scherzer pitched well in his debut. But Milwaukee, they're playing better at home, but they just haven't been hitting lefties well. They're hitting 224 against lefties. Wilson's been getting shelled, 5 earned runs in 2 of his last 3 starts. Although he is much better at home, I don't know how much of that is, opponent based or whatever the case may be. But Heaney, 3 earned runs or fewer in his last 10 starts, has not allowed over 3 runs in his last 7 road starts. So he's pitching well. But Texas, I mean, the offense just can't get anything going. So it doesn't matter if Wilson hasn't had a lot of success getting guys out if the offense can't hit. I mean, they're hitting 210 in their last 10, 3.9 runs per 9. So Mal, honestly, I lean to Texas simply because I trust Heaney a little bit more than Wilson. But on the opposite side, I can say I trust Milwaukee's offense better than I do Texas. So I'm kind of up in the air. I guess I'll lean with the dog on kind of a coin flip game. Maybe you could talk me into something.
Mate, I've got Texas. I have the same as you. Cool. It's really hard to split them, actually. But Texas, we just talked about Houston. Texas have kind of pulled themselves back into better shape lately as well. Heaney's been consistent, 3 earned runs in his last 3 starts. Lots of low-scoring games he's been involved in, so the under 8.5 might be an option. And he's been decent on the road. Wilson, though, he's only got 1 good start in his game log lately, and the rest aren't very good at all. And I'll tell you what splits the tie, Lonte, you wanted an angle in. The Brewers just aren't hitting left-handed pitching at all.
Yeah, they're not.
Batting at 220-something. The Brewers also lost 3 or 4 to the Padres over the weekend. So there's your 2 angles, and we'll take Texas at plus 102. Next game on the card is a 9:38 Eastern. First pitch, it is the Oakland Athletics and the LA Angels. Mitch Spence goes for Oakland and Tyler Anderson for the Angels, left-handed pitcher. Plus 108 the A's, minus 126 the Angels. Total here is set at 8.5. So the Angels are nearly as bad as the Athletics now. They're on the way to rivaling each other, these two teams. Mitch Spencer's doing okay. 2-4, 2-4 earned runs in his last 4 starts. Oakland did lose all of them. And Anderson's been good. As bad as we say the Angels are,
He's good.
Tyler Anderson has been a bright spot. He's only given up 1 earned run in 4 of his last 5 starts. So that stat, combined with the Oakland keep losing Spencer's starts, -126, I think it's a fair price, for the Angels in this spot. So I'll keep it fairly simple, and I'll take the home team on the money line. Give me the Angels -126.
Yeah, man, I think the Angels are being disrespected here with this line, man. I like the Angels. I like them in the first 5. I like them full game. I like the team total under for Oakland in the first 5. Anderson's been a gem. Outside of some walk issues, he's, like you mentioned, the 1 earned run. I'll expand it a little bit more. He's had 1 earned run in 6, allowed 1 earned run in 6 of his last 7 starts. Spence, you mentioned, been up and down. But the key for me is Oakland hasn't been hitting the ball well. They're hitting under 215 on the road. And against lefties, they're hitting under 220, so 217 to be exact, versus lefties. So I think Anderson will be able to come in and shut down the Oakland offense. So I like the Angels pretty much across the board, man. If you can find a team total for Oakland under first 5, I like that as well. I like Angels first 5, like run line, and also the full game, laying the 126.
Okay, a little bit of confidence behind the Angels tomorrow. Not often we can say that. 9:40 Eastern first pitch is the Washington Nationals at the San Diego Padres. Left-handed pitcher Mackenzie Gore for Washington. Yu Darvish draws the start for the Padres. -136 San Diego, +116 Washington. Total is a low one, Lonte. It's 7.5.
Yeah, so it's a Mackenzie Gore revenge game, man. You remember he was in that deal for Juan Soto. So he's coming back to where he was drafted. He's pitched well against them. I think 2 starts he's had against them, ERA of 2. So he's doing pretty well. He did allow over 3 runs, only allowed over 3 runs twice this whole season. He's not pitched on the road since May 29th, so that's kind of a little bit concerning. But if you go back to his last 5 road starts, he hasn't allowed over 2 runs in those, hasn't allowed a home run in 4 of his last 5. Obviously, he's a big strikeout guy, 7 Ks in 5 of his last 6. And with Darvish, this is his first start since May 29th. 49 pitches in a rehab start. So how much are we going to get from him? I mean, you never know. We saw that with Cole and then Scherzer. I forgot what Scherzer went, but it wasn't deep into the game. He had went Darvish, that is, 24 scoreless innings in 4 of his last 6 games before allowing 9 in the previous 2. So he had been going well. Now, how much of that transfers over, I'm not sure. But I like Washington, man, as a road dog. Washington's hitting above 250 in their last 10, 8.3 hits, 4.4 runs per 9. Mackenzie Gore gonna be geared up. I think the guys will be ready to try to get him this win, going back to where he was drafted. So I like Washington. I like the over as well. I think if things get a little bit out of sorts, I think both teams can be able to score here.
Monty, we have had some crossfires tonight. I've got the under here. Now, I did take the under before I saw the total 7.5, and that would kind of make me think again. One of the question marks in this game surrounding Mackenzie Gore is that he just barely pitched on the road, just through a quirk of the scheduling. 15 games started, only 5 of them have been on the road. He's had 10 home starts. So the sample size is a bit smaller than he expected to be. But he's got a 2.28 ERA in those 5 starts. So you can't not trust it just because the sample size is small. In Yu Darvish, he's got 1 bad start in his game log recently against the Yankees, but he's in really good form as well. I think the Padres can win, but I'm going to take the under, which is the exact opposite of what you said. You wanted Washington in the over. Yeah. I've gone with the Padres and the under, so once again,
one of us is going to look smart, the other is going to look dumb.
Yeah, Youngin wants Corbin over 3.5 runs earned allowed, so that maybe leans towards the Padres and the over. So no one took that. So anyway, pay your money and take your choice. The penultimate game on the card is a 9:40 Eastern first pitch between the Minnesota Twins and the Arizona Diamondbacks. We have Joe Ryan, who will pitch for Minnesota, for the Diamondbacks, it will be Brandon Pfaadt, plus 108 Arizona, minus 126 the Twins. And the total here is set at 8.5. I found this a little bit tricky. Joe Ryan is 5-5 on the year, has a 3.13 ERA. Pitched really well recently. Last 20 innings, only given up 5 earned runs in 3 starts. So you get nice length as well out of Joe Ryan. There's a 7, a 7, and a 6 in there. So maybe an outs prop, depending on what's going on. 18-4 strikeout to walk rate as well. There's normally a good indication that a pitcher's controlling what they're doing. Brandon Pfaadt's still struggling to put a run of form together. He throws in the odd good start, but he can't run up a sequence. He has been in better form lately, and I found this really hard to split. So the last 3 words I wrote this afternoon before I saw the lines were, I'll take dog. So at plus 108, I'm just going to take the D-backs. I can't split them, so I'm going to take the bigger price, Lonte.
Yeah, so I like Minnesota. I like Minnesota going forward as well, man. So I got a couple of futures on them. As long as they don't play the Yankees, I think they're in good shape against everybody else. They're hitting 310 in their last 10, 11.3 hits, 6 runs per 9. They've won 7 of 10. Ryan has 3 straight quality starts. He's 5th in the MLB with 11 quality starts overall. He does have some home run issues. He's allowed 7 in his last 4 starts. I'm sorry. But I mean, on the opposite end with Pfaadt, he didn't have a swinging strike in 77 pitches in his last start. So I think Minnesota will be able to put the bat on the ball. He's allowed 4 plus earned runs in 3 of his last 4 starts. And he also has walk issues, which leads me into taking the over as well. So I'll take Minnesota and over. I think their bats will be a little bit too much for Pfaadt and the D-backs. So we disagree there as well.
Well, what a funny old night. Must be just Sundays, Lonte, that we agree on. Sundays is our night. Yeah, once it gets to a Monday, everything's gone to shit on a Monday. No good to anyone. 9:45 Eastern first pitch. The Chicago Cubs at the San Francisco Giants. This is on the board. I think the bookies have got so sick of San Francisco not being able to name a pitcher. They've just started pricing them up anyway, because otherwise, what's the point? This is unusual for a couple of reasons. It's Kyle Hendricks going for the Cubs. San Francisco is TBD. And I haven't even seen an indication of who might be going for the Giants. The Giants are even money. The Cubs are minus 118. And the total's set at 8. So, Lonte, I don't think I want to back Kyle Hendricks at minus 118 and backing the Giants at even money with a mystery pitcher isn't hugely appealing either. So what do we do with this?
Man, I have no idea, to be honest with you. I left it blank. So I have no idea what to do with either of these teams. I think me and Scott had the same sentiments last night. I would just maybe look for an over, especially if it is Hendricks on the mound. San Francisco's offense is a little bit better at home. And the the Cubs, they struggled last night. They got guys on, they just couldn't convert. I think they left a couple of guys on in key spots versus the Mets and just couldn't convert. So maybe they do end up converting, depending on who's on the mound. But I think I would lean to the over, but nothing profound, man. I think both of these teams are in my I don't know section where I just don't know what to expect or give, unless Assad was on the mound last night and lost, but Assad and Imanaga, who got blown up this weekend as well, are the only two pitchers I can kind of trust whenever the Cubs are on the mound. So when the Cubs are playing. So I don't have much for this game at all.
I mean, the only thing I would consider is just the auto fade of Hendricks. If you can fade Hendricks at even money, I don't think that's ever going to be a bad idea. Although he faced this opposition last week, pitched 5 2/3, and gave up 1 earned run and struck out 8. That was the other thing. I could see how Hendricks can have a decent start because he has proved that, but he's never struck out 8 in his life. So that just made it feel like something strange was afoot last week. So yeah, other than that, I might fade Hendricks at evens, and the Giants pictures are all much of a muchness anyway. Right, okay, lock and dog time, Lonte. What have you got lined up for us here?
Yeah, so let's go to lock, something that I love. We'll go with the Halos at home, laying under 130. If you can find any, I'll lay 130 as well if it gets up to that spot. But I trust Anderson more. I think he's a superior pitcher. to Spence. Oakland struggles against lefties. I don't think they'll get much off of Anderson as long as he can keep the guys off the base as far as walks. I think the Angels should be able to come out and win this game pretty comfortably. So I like the Halos at home, laying anything under 130. For the dog, Mal, I'm gonna go to Tampa. I think Tampa can get it done. I think this is their series. I'm on them today to get it done. I think they'll have a good series against Seattle. Don't trust Castillo. Littell is kind of concerning, but he has pitched better at home. So I think the Rays are gonna have a good series. I think I see plus 114. So I think we're getting some value here. Don't trust the Seattle offense. And Castillo's been shaky on the road. 10 earned runs combined in his last 2 road starts. 18 hits in that span as well. So give me Tampa at home plus 114.
Okay. I like both of those picks. I love both of those picks. I was just looking at the Angels before you started talking, but it's not very often the Angels have been locked up this year. So that's brave of you, Lonte. I'm going to have to go to one of those short ones because I think everyone in the chat was kind of interested in Houston on the run line at minus 110. I mean, they say Hunter Brown has trended recently in the right direction. Gomba's kind of all over the place as well. Houston in good form. A great spot for them to extend this winning streak as well this series and really start putting some pressure on Seattle. For my dog, Tampa were an option. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go with the New York Mets, Lonte.
Oh man! And you know what? I was gonna make the Yankees my dog on the run line.
Nah, well, it's a good job you didn't, mate, because that's you're throwing good money after bad. Peterson's been all right. The Mets have been all right. The Yankees are a little bit wobbly. And Cole, we're just not entirely sure what we're going to get. So at minus 156, that's enough to put you off. Mets in good form. Plus 132 on the New York Mets. And finally, Lonte, it is time for dingers. Who is going to hit a dinger tomorrow, Lonte?
Yordan Alvarez, man. He's homered in two of his. He's homered in 2 of his last 4. He's getting Austin Gomber coming in, who's actually been atrocious as of late. He's allowed a lot of home runs in this year. So I think coming into a hot Houston offense, I think Yordan can take him deep. So I like Yordan to go deep tomorrow in Houston. Don't tell Munaf that though. I don't want anything to make Munaf happy. I'm all about sadness for Munaf. So don't want him saying seeing me say good things about the Astros.
Yeah. Don't let Munaf in on that at all. I am just trying to have a look at Bryce Wilson's home run stats. What's he given up? 12. That's all right, that's up there. I'm looking at Texas tomorrow because there's one player kind of jumps off my charts a little bit, and it's Corey Seager tomorrow. I mean, I think I tipped Texas up to win this in the Brewers, but Wilson isn't pitching well lately at all. Like I say, one good start in his game log, but the rest haven't been great. He's given up 12 home runs already this season. But Seager might just be in a good position to hit one tomorrow. So I'll take the left-handed hitter. Corey Seager will be my dingers selection for tomorrow. Lonte, my battery is still in one piece. What does it say? 22%, man.
Oh man,
we've got ages left. We've got plenty time left. Anything you want to tell the people before we go? That was fun.
Yeah, man, it was. Man, just looking forward to this card. I think it's some good series coming up for this weekend. Leading into the weekend. So I didn't have the best week. I don't know about you. I didn't have the best week, especially not the best Sunday. I was really bad on Sunday. So looking to bounce back today and tomorrow. So man, good luck to everybody out there.
Yeah, we'll bounce back. Do you remember this once last year, Lonte? I went to be extra on a television program and I was a policeman. Was that maybe 2 years ago? Do you remember that situation or not?
No, I don't actually.
Oh, okay. Well, I got an email before and I've got another gig tomorrow, Lonte. I'm going to be a villager.
Oh man.
I don't know what does that entail?
I don't know. It sounds fun though.
I could pull off a villager, couldn't I? You get a few quid, Lonte. They pay you a little bit of money, and it's quite good fun just to go and piss around and see how the television program gets made. So up
that's dope,
somewhere in a little village, obviously, up on the Northumberland coast tomorrow. I'm going to be a villager and play being a TV star for the day. So that's good fun. So I'll let you know how that works out, how my villaging goes. Thanks everyone who's in the chat. It was live and kicking as always. Great way to start the week. I've been away this weekend. I have drank far too much alcohol, so I've been a bit tired and emotional today. But you boys have pulled me through, which I appreciate. I don't think I'm back till Thursday, which gives me a chance to sober up. Good luck with all your bets. Thank you very much, Lonte. The crew will be back at the same time tomorrow. Until then, we will see you down the road. Cheers.